Hi, Darin Mangum here. Just posted another video that talks about different things that I get on a regular basis in my securities practice. Um, Over the past 17 years as a securities attorney, sometimes we get clients that get investigation letters from the SEC or a state securities board. That's not something to panic about, not something to freak out about the end of the world, but it happens, right? SEC and has federal jurisdiction, and each state in the union has jurisdiction over offerings. And sometimes they random investigations based on you know just at will, especially if they see something that you have on the internet or something like that. Or sometimes it could be a legitimate complaint by someone, an investor. I've seen cases where competitors have like turned each other in when it comes to trying to slow them from raising capital, so they'll make up some story. But anyway, for whatever reason, the reason for the investigation certainly is something to take seriously. Certainly, you want to call a securities attorney, whether it's me or someone else, right away. Um, but the first two things, and usually they ask for a lot of things, but the very first things they ask for to look at is, number one, have you filed a Form D with the SEC, or have you made some sort of securities filing? But the other thing is that we want to see your PPM. We want to see your private placement memorandum, and the last thing you want to do is to say, "Oh crap, we don't have a PPM." We have maybe a term sheet. Send that in, something or whatever. Maybe a subscription document that you got from somewhere, or if that. But anyway, they ask for a private placement memorandum. Then what they want to see is that you've again provided disclosure to the investor as to what's going on with your company, and so. I've had cases where the SEC sends a letter, and we send them copies of the private placement memorandum and other things, and they see, oh, okay, well, usually if they don't have any complaining investor and it looks like that you're doing it right, you're making your notice filings, you're providing PPMs, and you're doing it right. Sometimes the investigation goes away, and you don't hear any more back from them, and they move on to fry other fish, right? And so those are, again, two things. And sometimes I'm surprised that sometimes clients are using other services, especially those out there that are not law firms. And they'll do, oh, here's a PPM for you, charge you $1,000 to crank out a couple $1,000s to crank out a PPM, and then, kind of kick you down the road. And hey, if the SEC ever comes investigating, okay, they can't really help you at that point. They can't run interference with you, and so, or for you, and so anyway. But again, it's helpful. Again, regardless of whether you hire me or not, doesn't matter. You want a seasoned securities attorney to make sure those critical documents are in place and helping in any kind of investigative type situation that you might find yourself in. So anyway, if you have any questions about that, if you've gotten a letter like that, definitely don't sweep it under the rug. Definitely, give me a call, or definitely call a securities attorney and get some good counsel. But anyway, but those are some critical things that are needed. And again, if you have your ducks in a row, if you have all that in place, and you're represented by counsel, then again, most of the time they'll just pass on by, and it's like getting pulled over for a speeding, possibly getting a speeding ticket, or hey, maybe you might get off with a warning, something like that, as opposed to them hauling you in, and something like that. So anyway, that's the analogy. But anyway, feel free to give me a call, and if you want to talk about any of these items, 801-787-9072 is my cell, and or the ppmattorney.com. Certainly, you can go to my website, or you can shoot me an email anytime. So anyway, hope to see you around. Thank you for watching.